Hello. Hi. Hey y'all. Just waiting for a few more folks to join. Well, hopefully they're joining. Okay. I gotta hold on. Let me see who wants to join already. Okay, so EP the Hope Dealer. I'm just going to quickly introduce a topic, and then if you're still interested in joining, I will add you. I don't really have any guests tonight, but I figure, it's a topic that people are hopefully interested in, so y'all can just hop on and off and share your thoughts. So, first of all, welcome to the Becky Brown Girl Show. I'm your host, Becky Brown Girl, and tonight we're talking hip-hop beefs, past and present. So somebody referred to 2024 as a year of reckoning. I don't know if that was Cat Williams or just people been saying that in general because everybody's going at each other. He kicked the year off and set the tone, going at his fellow comedians and Hollywood in general. And from there, it's just kind of been spiraling, since, when was that? In January, I think? Among some of the current big name artists of today, Drake, Ross, Cole, Kendrick, Ye, Quavo, even got the R&B singers involved, now Chris Brown. But before we get into today's beefs, I wanted to kind of touch on historical, big beefs from back in the golden era. That's really when I first started getting into hip hop. So I know that there were probably beefs before that, but that's when I started being a hip hop head. So that's where we're starting. Anyway, so this genre, right, unlike any other genre, is known for like competition and people going at each other, and it's like a part of the culture. It's a lot about like being braggadocious and talking about being the best, and like I don't think any other genre is ranking their performers like we do in hip hop. We're always talking about top 5, this or that, right? Battle rap and all of that is like just an aspect of the culture that we come to enjoy. Like even during COVID, verses became popular, and people were excited to see who they were going to put up against each other, who was going to have supremacy. I think towards the end it was less about like going against one another and like who outdid the other performer, more so, about them kind of just performing their hits. But of course, I think all of us remember the epic Lox and Dipset battle. Of course, the Lox, dominated as I anticipated they would. But anyway, so I wanted to again kind of talk about historically some of the old school beefs, and now what the hell is going on in hip hop currently, and why everybody seems to be going at one another, right? So some of and I had to jog my memory a little bit. Obviously, we all know, one of the biggest and of course most tragic beefs, was between Biggie and Tupac, and certainly, we never want to see an outcome like that again, because not just the artists get invested, but the, entourages and the people that surround them. And nobody foresaw that being the end result of that. So we never want to see anything like that again, right? We want to keep it, well, I can't even say we want to keep it on wax. That's like super old school, but y'all know what I mean, right? But besides Biggie and Pac, R.I.P., There were some other big beefs back in the golden era. So we had Cannabis and LL, 50 and Ja Rule, which is like still a thing even to this day. Who else? Oh, NWA and Ice Cube. That was kind of in the transition from the 80s into the 90s and the golden era, right? Jay and Nas, obviously. So I want to get y'all's input on who you think won those, right? Of course, between Jay and Nas, I'm gonna say, even though Jay is my number one on my favorite of all time, I definitely think Nas bested him. But Jay definitely has a quotable in the takeover that I still use to this day. Whenever I think somebody is not being truthful, I just tell them they need more people, right? Okay, yeah, so Cool Mo D. I knew there were others like before some of the ones that I just named, but anyway. So I wanted to see if what y'all think about like some of today's beefs, because to be honest, I'm not nearly as invested in them as I would have been back in that era, and so I don't even understand why they're all going at each other. And also I feel like Chris Brown had the hardest like he made the hardest diss of all of them, so which is pretty absurd since that's not what he does for a living, right? But so EP the Hope Dealer, I don't know if you actually wanted to join or if you sent that request by accident, but I'm gonna add you. We'll try if you want to join. Did you want to join? Or you can send me a request. Hip hop heads. I'm trying to see who else is on here. Um oh yeah. Duh. KRS and MC Shan, of course.
What's up, lady?
Hello there. Oh, now of
What
course you
up?
all in the dark. Sort of.
Hold on.
Uh,
Let me see if I can.
yeah,
I'm
so
trying to. All
is
right,
it
that's better.
better? You know what?
Is
It's
that
because the
better?
light's behind you. It's fine. As long as the people can see you.
Right,
How
right,
you
right,
doing?
right.
Good.
I'm
So introduce yourself
good.
to
How
the
you doing?
people, please. And then we can get into this.
Um, EP, hip hop historian. No, I'm not, but a hip
Perfect.
hop enthusiast. Uh, you know,
So,
a beef
so this is
connoisseur,
right up your alley then.
if
That's
you
great.
will. I like, I have some very, I have some very distinct ideas
So do
about
you want
what's
to
going on.
start with the current beefs?
Now,
Because maybe you can enlighten me.
I'll start with whatever
So
you
so
want.
let's
I can
talk
start with whatever you
historically.
want. Yeah.
What were your favorite back in the day beefs?
Oh, hold on. My my sound
I
went out. You
said
said what?
so.
Say,
Can you hear me now?
say something.
Uh, yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Yep. Can you hear me better?
I said so. Let's start.
All right. Cool.
In the golden era. Or you might have mentioned some even
Right.
predated that. KRS and MC Shan. How could I forget about that? Um,
Right.
what else am I forgetting from back in that era?
Roxanne, Roxanne Shante, and like
That sounds like
everybody
Nikki. That's
is like told. Yeah, that was like, but there was like so many iterations of that in the day. The mother, Roxanne Shante, and the sister. So there was a whole bunch of Roxanne, beefs. I mean, this is the thing. I think when hip hop was just coming up, beefs meant something. Like it meant something not just in the, really not even in the industry. It meant something like as your rep, like as your career, right? And so KRS One ended MC Shan's
Yup.
career, like effectively. When he said the bridge
Well,
is over, like the bridge was,
hold
that was it.
on
That was it. And
until Nasir Jones and them.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
But what I'm
yeah.
saying is, in his era, like that could, you know what I'm saying? That was a killer blow, and it had real
Yep.
implications in people's careers. I think that when we get to, you when we get to Tupac and Biggie, and now the
Mm.
beef becomes coastal, and so now you have a whole coast beefing against another coast, and that was kind of fueled by, you know, the the I would
Yep.
say the media coverage of it. You had radio stations, you had, you know, music,
Yeah.
television channels
Oh,
that
for
kind of
sure.
fueled that fire. And unfortunately, two of the greatest artists that we've ever known like lost their lives to it. I think when that happened, the beef switched. I think it would have switched if Easy E would have lived. That was a tragedy, and I think that, you know, NWA beefing with each other was something I remember. I remember when, like, Dr. Dre, I think it was Dr. Dre that put out that video of, I forget the comedian's name, but he used
AJ
to
Johnson. What
have
he
him
did,
play Easy E.
Trey Day.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
when he used
yeah,
to like have him
yeah.
play Easy E in all his videos. That junk was wild. I remember as a kid, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy," right? And I didn't understand the whole implication, because then you have the AIDS epidemic, and, you know, first you hear about Magic Johnson, then you hear about Easy E, and that kind of stopped that beef. Like when Easy came
Yep.
out and said, "Hey, I have full blown AIDS," that kind of
Yep.
like immediately killed
Yes.
everything. Um,
I mean,
if it had not,
it's life and death, right? Yeah.
right, right. I think had that not happened, maybe we would have seen a fever pitch of that beef. But definitely Biggie and Tupac kind of opened everybody's eyes and said, "Oh my God, like both of these people are gone. You know, what are we doing?" You know, and I feel like people started to dial it back a little, or at least like people are saying, "Hey, listen, this is only on wax. This is not in real life, or this is a competitive sport." Blah 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 blah
Well,
blah blah.
no,
I
again,
think
I'm sorry. I
nowadays,
think it,
go ahead.
again, it was more, even though, one of them was clearly very invested. And look, to be fair, if he felt like, you know, the other was behind that initial shooting incident, which of course, he denied.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm assuming that's not the case. I don't think that's the
I don't
case, right?
know either. I mean, P Diddy be blowing up people's cars, so I don't know nothing. So
Yeah, that's nuts, right?
I don't know nothing. I don't know
Everything
nothing.
is alleged, right? But the point is,
Right, right,
I was
right.
going to say it was really like the hangers on and the surrounding, people who were like putting a battery on their back, because Biggie seemed like, "No, I don't want,
Mm-hmm.
like, remember the Source Awards, that epic Source Awards. You ain't got no love for the West Coast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me know
Mm-hmm.
then,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I remember that infamous chair incident. We didn't have
Right.
another Source Awards after
Okay,
that.
refresh my
Uh,
memory.
when the chair was thrown in the So the chair was thrown in the big melee. That was like the last Source Awards that we had.
That
That
like
big brawl
sounds
that
vaguely
happened.
familiar, but
Okay. So yeah, I mean they made a Boondocks episode out of it, but it wasn't that. It wasn't that year, but you know subsequent years. But yeah, like yeah, that's. I think when that happened, people understood. Wow, people's lives can like be taken on things
yeah,
that happen on wax, right? Because that was a personal thing that Tupac had against Biggie that turned into a a whole coast beefing
exactly.
with another coast. Um, but
It's very
now
sassy.
it's like I'm gonna tweet at you and I'm a subtweet and all this stuff, and I'm like, bruh, like I will say now when I heard Kendrick, you know, drop that 16, I was like, okay, okay. But Kendrick has always been like that. He's never played well with others. When J. Cole did his job, I was like, okay, all right. I want to see where this goes. And then when he apologized, I was like, come on, bruh.
Let's
Like,
talk about that for a
you
minute.
can't.
When I saw it, right, I like J. Cole, right? And he's definitely, first of all, I think he's, one of the best of this era, right? Um, in
Mm-hmm.
fact, if I were
Yeah.
ranking, like, if I put any artist of this era in my top 5, 10, it would be him. But I
Mm-hmm.
saw how, like, a lot of people were like, that's not hip hop, man. Like, they were really mad about that. I'm like, it's okay if you don't want to be in no beef. That's not really.
It's okay if you don't drop it. You dropped 2 songs. You dropped a double song off of a 32, off of a line, right? Like, well, no, he did, clearly it was the whole verse, but you dropped 2 songs. You dropped the 7-minute diss track, right? Then you were like, this is on my new mixtape, which the mixtape is fire. Like, I love J. Cole. But after that, like, you in it now, bro. You can't you can't drop. Listen, you can't start a drive-by shooting, run out of
Why
gas, and say, "Hey,
not?
tell the people we sorry," and get out and push. Just tell the people we sorry. No, like, you in it now. This is war now, and I feel like either don't put it out, or when you put it out, stand by it.
I mean,
That's
of course, a lot
it.
of people, have come at Jay, and for the most part, like, I don't feel like he. I mean, and, he's big grown now, so I know he's like, please, you peasants, but like, he don't have to. He
Yeah.
solidified his name in the game. So if no, I'm talking about Jay
Wait, are you
Z.
talking about J. Cole or Jay Z?
No, I know you're talking about.
Oh,
I know
I
you're
was talking
talking about J.
about J.
Cole.
Cole. All right.
I mentioned him though
Okay.
because I'm saying, like, I was thinking of people who a lot of other artists come at that don't necessarily respond in kind when
Right.
so yeah, because he probably feels like I don't have to do that, like it's beneath me at this point. And yeah, he definitely has his share of so I won't even say subs. Like, he has his share of, I wouldn't call them like a whole diss record, but he'll sprinkle a little here, there, whatever. No,
You're
now I'm
Wait,
talking
are we
about
talking
Jay
about Cole
Z.
again, or are we
I'm
talking about Jay
using
Z
Jay
again?
Z as an example of somebody who doesn't typically respond, to the point that you made about, like, once you respond, now you're in it. Like, you can't just do
But here's the thing: the same, yeah, Jay Z didn't have to respond to Naughty by
Nas.
no, he had to respond to Nas. He didn't have to respond to anybody else. But when Nas said something, he had to respond because that one. Let's take everything off. Like, when we're talking about rap, when we're talking about battle rap, this is the thing that pisses me off, because people say, "Oh, the big three is Kendrick, Cole, and Drake." No, it's not. Drake is not even in the conversation, because Drake doesn't have the lyrical ability to even stand a candle between the two. He
Well,
doesn't.
who would you think? Who else
Um,
would you put up there um Jay?
Possibly Big Crit. Um,
But he's not
who
he
else?
doesn't
Who else
have
could?
the stature of.
And this is what I'm talking about. When we're talking about battle rap, we're not talking about albums sold. We're not talking about how many monthly streams you got and all of this. We are talking about bars. This is a sport. When you're talking about battle rap, we're talking about sport. And that's the reason why a lot of people conflate this, and they're like, well, Drake this, Drake that. Yeah, Drake can get you a hit. But Drake is a Walmart rapper. He's everywhere. Yes, he's everywhere. This dude done kissed Madonna because he pimping out his. Come on, bruh.
Okay,
Aubrey Graham from the Six. We really
okay,
think
hold on. Why is everybody just coming at Drake because they feel like, I don't know why they feel like he's an easy target, because he does dominate though. What, not maybe not lyrically, but he.
Drake is a
Yes.
tactician. So Drake is a tactician. that's where Drake, like, that's where his expertise lies. He's a genius tactician. When he did back to back, when he hit when he hit when he hit what's it call it with something light, and then he hit, and then he saw he wasn't responding, and then he hit him with back to back, and then he sent bottles to Charlemagne, bruh. That was genius. It was because Charlemagne was going to talk about it. He's a tactician, but you notice what he did when Malice, not Malice, when Pusha T came at him. You noticed? Did you hear his diss track when Pusha T came at him?
So he came at. See, I don't remember the origin
of
it. I think I read that it was something to do with like Pusha T had some like old beef with Wayne, and then it like I don't know if it spilled over into his interactions with Drake somehow. But when I don't remember what Drake started with, I just know that Pusha T came back outing him having a son.
Did we hear Drake's diss?
I don't remember what he said about Pusha T, to be honest with you.
Pusha. He didn't.
Okay.
He was silent.
All right. Well, that's why I don't remember.
That's what I'm saying. This boy, he knew not to go against this cat because he was like, oh, shoot, that's his first punch? Okay. And he made up that thing, well, the big, I was going to respond, but the big homies came in, da-da-da-da-da. No, you didn't, bro. He also doesn't have the lyrical veracity to go against a true spitter. Kendrick is a true spitter. J. Cole is a true spitter. They're very different. Kendrick he uses words in the same way that similar to MF Doom use words, right? He plays with syllables, he plays with rhyme, he plays with schemes, and he mixes it up to the point where it's just like he creates art. Like his albums are art pieces. This is why we see like how they're doing. Like To Pimp a Butterfly is a dope album. Would I listen? Like, do I keep it on heavy rotation? No, but it is an art piece. Good Kid, Mad City was an art piece, and he's gotten more artistic since. J. Cole is like a Mos Def. Mos Def can take a lyric, and he can take a rhyme and keep on hitting you with that rhyme, like a 67-line combo. And both of them are master storytellers. Drake doesn't have those skills. So Drake can mess with Rick Ross because Rick Ross can't rap on that level either. Right?
Is what I'm trying to understand. Like, is it just because everybody's trying to go at Drake because he's at the top, like, in terms of sales and popularity and that type? Like, is that why? Because I still don't know.
Well, here's the thing that is illuminating. I just saw a video where DaBaby gave an interview, and he said it was 2 days before the J. Cole disc came out. The Kendrick disc came out, right? And he said a friend of his who's in the industry, who is a well-known rapper, he said, if I say his name, y'all know exactly who he is. I'm sure y'all know. He said he called him up, and he's like, yo, how you doing? I'm good, whatever. He's like, yo, this stuff is heating up. I think we should diss each other. Like, he's like, behind doors, like, we're good, but he's like, this'll drive our sales up. And I would not put it past some of this being orchestrated. The whole Rick Ross, because that don't make no sense. The Rick Ross and Drake, like, I think that's orchestrated. I think now, apparently he has said some stuff about Meg Thee Stallion, and so Meg came at him, and he came at Meg,
who?
But
you talking about
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no. Drake
now
and Meg Thee Stallion.
You beefing with women? Come on.
Yeah.
Now.
So, right. So,
sassy.
So that's what I'm saying. And so Meg put out a track. See, he put out a track, and then Drake put out a track. But Drake is like the nitrous. If you want your spins, if you want your monthly streams, if you want your album sales to go up, put Drake on it. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire. So whether he's on your track or whether he's beefing, everybody's gonna go your catalog and listen to the song that you dissed him with, right? So I think some of this might be so like because Chris Brown and Quavo, I know
Why?
they don't like each other,
Of
but I was like, come
Saweetie.
on. I don't even know. I feel like that was publicity. Cause I'm like, Chris,
that
I
dancing ninja,
was like,
that dancing R&B ninja, body Quavo. Even though I feel like that,
I was
he had to
like,
take off.
come on, bro.
that was like over the top. It was too
Yeah,
much. However, but
I was
he
like,
bodied him. Like it wasn't even close. So,
but I think some of that can be also, publicity, some of it industry, because it's like when nobody
why is an
technically
R&B
y'all,
singer
why
beefing
y'all,
with any like
why y'all
what?
want
Why
stuff
are
like,
you? What is happening right now?
come
You
on,
is not
bro.
thug, sir.
Like, so we haven't seen a real. The last time I feel like we saw some real beef
Uh,
was the Gucci
oh
Man
yeah,
Young
I forgot
Jeezy
about that.
battle.
Yeah. Well, wait.
Jeezy was on some let's get this paper, and Gucci Man was like, F this, I'm gonna play another song that says F Jeezy.
Was it
Like,
like there was some like violence involved in that, right?
oh yeah. So Jeezy allegedly, Jeezy sent some of his people over to kill Gucci, and Gucci killed one of his men.
Did you say allegedly?
And then rapped
Okay.
about it. Allegedly. Right? And then Gucci rapped about it. He said, "Hey, dig up your homeboy where I put him." Like, it made a song about it,
Yikes.
allegedly. So that was real beef. Like that was street beef that came into some real stuff. So
Cat. Yeah.
sideways,
Turn your phone or whatever you're using. Okay.
sideways.
Hi.
Hey, what up?
Hello.
How are you?
This is ASAP 95, right?
Mm-hmm.
Introduce yourself. Well, I just introduced you, but you can still introduce yourself to the people.
Right. Yeah, I just was listening to your conversation, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to speak up for Drake on this one. You were talking about and everything else, and talking about how J. Cole is a spitter, and I completely agree. And you like Kendrick, and you also were talking about how Mos Def, you can take one topic and hit it 67 times in a row, not taking anything away from Mos Def. He's a great artist, but let me just make my case for you. Drake, um,
Mm-hmm.
Drake came out, at least in the mainstream. He hit the mainstream since 2009. It's 2024. That's probably like 16 years that Drake has been relevant. That he's in the mainstream. There are millions of rappers out here who come and go. Millions of rappers.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it for a second. I mean, like, and I'm going to go into different. I'm actually going to go into. I'm going to break it down a little bit further. But how many other rappers um, keep that type of longevity in the mainstream for that amount of time? I mean, maybe Snoop Dogg, of course, maybe E40, because like on the Bay Area, I mean, like E40 always.
40.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean,
Yeah.
he
Wait a
does come
minute.
out
Wait, what is we talking about right now? How about
longevity.
Jay-Z?
Jay-Z, of course, I was going to get to him as well.
Okay.
Nas, Jay-Z. I mean, I was just taking off the back of the head, but yeah,
You
Nas,
said
Jay-Z.
E40. I mean,
I mean, E40. He still does come out with hits, and I mean, he still is kind of relevant. Who else? Nicki Minaj is kind of like having that is having that long stretch of relevance as well.
but
Um,
so just not to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you. I don't think that he's saying like he's not taking anything away from Drake in certain aspects. Like he said, he's a tactician. He's obviously, very popular. He knows how to make a hit for sure, right? Hit after hit after
Yeah.
hit after hit, right? And to his point, some of them same artists that he's beefing with, I mean, he's obviously made hit records with, and part of the reason why they were hit
Right.
records is because of him being featured on it, or vice versa, right? Or them collaborating. But I think he's just saying in terms of battle rapping and beefing.
Too short, like too short.
It
My man John Manzi said too short. I mean, on the West Coast, and I mean he does come out with songs every once in a while. All I'm saying is, if you put all the rappers I just mentioned, and then just talk about all the other rappers who have come out over the years, and most rappers, most artists don't are lucky to make it past one hit wonders. I mean, some may come out with a couple of albums or two, and some may go on a stretch, but of course,
well because
all
I
Hmm.
think
Go ahead.
I think it's hard for somebody who's like strictly a battle rapper then to translate that into necessarily into like being a good studio or a radio artist. Like it it just depends. Like it takes a special kind of artist to be able to translate that skill across these different like aspects of hip hop. Like a battle rappers don't typically get that same level of fame and acclaim. And if you can think of one,
Right.
Mad Skills in Virginia. There's a guy in Virginia. His name is.
no, if you could think of somebody who's achieved that level of acclaim, I'm not saying I know who you're talking about, and I'm not
Right.
disputing that that's the case. I'm saying somebody who's achieved that level of like that top debut on somebody top 5, 10
Top tier.
list,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
most people are a studio artist, they're a radio artist, or they're a battle rapper. They're not a combo of all three, like
Yeah,
skillfully.
true.
Yeah. And also we're not even so Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, they're not battle rappers, right? They are rappers that are beefing right now, and they know how to put together a song that goes at another artist, right? Just like Common, right? Common wrote "You're So Sweet" against Drake. Um, that was he's not a battle rapper. He's an industry rapper that knows how to
Mm-hmm.
put together a diss song, right? But what my point is this: you could be, yes, Drake is relevant because first of all, Drake put out, like I said, he was a tactician from the beginning. He put out 2 mixtapes of straight rap because he needed to divorce the idea of the Degrassi figure, but at the same time we ain't heard a rap album from Drake in forever. Drake is a singer rapper, right? He uses auto tone in almost all his verses, and he picks his features. He also rides the culture. So if Afro beats is popular, he's going with Afro beats. When bounce was popular, we got a bounce song from Drake, and that's not to say that it's a people have opinions on whether he should do that or not, but he knows how to stay relevant, and that's why he's always a feature. That's why he's always in the front, and that's okay. What I'm saying is that when the beef happens, all of that gets pushed to the side. Album sales, streams, money, all of that. KRS-One killed MC Shan's career, and KRS-One was fairly unknown. Boogie Down Productions was like nobody back in the day, but because that disc was so hard, that basically ended his career. And so when we're talking about artists battling each other, we can't talk about notoriety because, like I said, Drake got washed by Pusha T, who was arguably not in the same tier as him at the time. Definitely not in the same tier, like arguably. Drake was on top of his game and got decapitated by Pusha T to the point where he didn't respond. So it's not about the longevity. We're talking about who can put the wins in the column, right? And Drake doesn't. He just doesn't measure up lyrically. He doesn't measure up talent
Who
wise.
what is that what you want me to call you, or you want to tell me
I mean, you
your actual
call me
name?
my regular name, John, but if
John. Okay.
whatever you feel is more comfortable with.
Okay, your mama named you John. I'm gonna call you John. So John, um, what, um, what, like, who do you think then has won these current beefs? or is winning these, because I'm like, again, I don't even really sort of get the backstory. I think to I feel like it is somewhat manufactured. I think it is, you know, for clout or whatever, or to boost record sales. I mean, I don't know. It just seems silly. It seems sassy. It seems like it's not like they don't have real issues with one another. Like I saw Cameron talking about this recently, basically saying like all these dudes are rich. Like, what are you beefing for?
I'm glad you actually mentioned Cameron because and mentioning beefs being manufactured because Cameron and Mace beefed for a short period of
Yeah.
time, and then now Cameron and Mace are actually making videos again. However, one day if you get a chance, if you go to Google or YouTube, there was this song that Mace made about Cameron. And what I'm trying to do is prove that, yes, I'm trying to agree with you that these beefs are manufactured. Mace had a song called The Oral where he was dissing Cameron. You have to listen to like the certain parts of it, but I will tell you this: if if another rapper dissed me the way Mace dissed Cameron, I would never want to work with him again. But these two guys work with each other.
Well,
Basically, I mean, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I mean, they also were friends,
Yes.
like originally. So it wasn't that they just
Yeah,
came to know each other through the industry. They were friends that grew up together, played ball together.
He,
So
play
he,
yeah,
basketball
I
together.
actually was thinking
Yeah,
about them when I was naming like some of the old beefs, because
so yeah,
you know a lot of them have managed to squash their beefs, like
right,
Jay and Nas and the two of them. You know, I Cannabis and LL. Now Cannabis and LL were not on the level of some of the other beefs, but
right.
you know, but
I don't think they ever really squashed it. I think
well, no,
cannabis just kind of let
what
it
I
go.
read was that there was
But
a like some show, maybe like yeah,
oh, where he brought cannabis out, I think,
yeah.
Yeah,
or
So
something like
supposedly
that.
that's when they
Okay.
squashed
yeah.
it, but
I know that Cameron and Mace were friends before the beef. I mean, I know Mace used to go under the name Murder Mace, and you know him and Cameron used to like make songs together. I think back before when Cameron first came out, like Confessions of Fire, before the Dipset, before like the Diplomats. But but if I was friends with a rapper, he said what Mace said on that disc.
what did he say?
Basically, so I'll spill the tea. Basically, he accused Cameron of incest. He basically said, "I'm not going to talk about that time how you fucked your sister." Like, look at the Mace, the Oracle. Now,
Yikes. Well, that's yeah.
now, now, I mean, we've seen all types of beefs. We've seen all types of different beefs in hip hop. I can't speak on all of them. Of course, I would definitely say some are manufacturers. Some of them are probably some of them the record companies push, and some are actually just really personal. Some people have died over beefs, but um, but I would think some of the things said in some beefs you probably couldn't come back from, and that's one of them. And like just, but that's just, but to just agree with your point, I do believe some are manufactured, but at the end of the day, it's all a mix. Like I mean, you get something to manufacture, people beef and rap. Uh, I believe LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee. When I read an article on both of them, I do not know if they ever became friends after their beef. Some people do like squash the beef. I think Chris Brown and Drake beef for a little while, but then 2019 they came out with that classic "No Guidance." You know, like the song "You Got It, Girl, You Got It,
I
Girl."
don't want
That,
to play no
that, that
games.
joint, I see you dancing to it. That joint was a banger. So like
Yeah, they
that joint's a banger,
well,
certified banger. Go ahead.
right, but it's crazy that Chris Brown is even in the conversation about beefing,
Speaking of,
and he had a harder record.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's not because Chris Brown is the Bobby Brown of this generation, complete with the drug
I was about to
addiction.
say
But
allegedly. Make sure
allegedly,
you put in the allegedly.
allegedly. But he got that Bobby Brown jaw, don't he? He got that
and
that Bobby Brown jaw on him
as I mentioned,
now.
as I typed in the comments before I came on, I was listening to that Chris Brown Quavo disc as I was on my way home
What
from
did you
work.
call
Yeah,
him? Quavo?
Quavo,
Yeah.
Quavo, my bad. I just, yeah, that joint was, yeah, that joint was fire. If I could remember it, I'd recite some of the lyrics. But I mean, yeah, Chris Brown went in. So
Yeah, he really did.
Chris Brown was on some
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
no.
yeah.
he was on
Here's
some
one.
Tupac.
Now my
But
memory starting to jog a little bit. One thing Chris Brown said, he said like, you might have fucked. You might have fucked my ex when I was not with her, but I fucked your ex while you was with her, dude. I'm up one. So I think he was saying, I think Quavo may have fucked Karuchi Tran, who Chris Brown,
Quavo.
Quavo, Quavo may have fucked
Quavo.
Karuchi
Yeah.
Tran, who I believe one of Chris Brown's songs was about Karuchi Tran, but the fact,
Well, Chris Brown was
right,
with her, and then
right,
Quavo was with her, or actually, he says that he was with her. Karuchi Tran
right.
never actually claimed him, but that was in 2019. But yeah, but here's the thing: going back to Drake, and so that there is some history there. But not Drake, going back to J. Cole and Kendrick, right? So there is some history. There is some reason, like Becky, you were talking about. You didn't know, the history behind it. J. Cole has been trying to do an album or a partnership with Kendrick for years. For years. There's an Angela, I'm sorry, not an Angela Yee. There's a what's her
Angie
name?
Martinez.
Dang, Angie Martinez. Yeah, there's an Angie Martinez interview where Angie asked Kendrick, asked J. Cole, will there ever be a J. Cole Kendrick album? Because the folks wanted it. And Jay's like, well, I want it, but we're busy, this and that and the third. I think Kendrick just doesn't like to play with others. Like even Black Hippie, his collective, they're not putting out a compilation album. They said that. They said like, we're not going to put out a compilation album.
Yeah,
Dreamville did.
it's dope.
Dreamville has put out a couple. I think Kendrick is like, I want to stand on my own. And so there's always been this kind of like, hey,
He got a Napoleon complex.
let's play. And Kendrick's like, I don't want to play with you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't want to play with you, right? And he didn't have but he's never had to. And so I think this was one of the most direct, like kind of push-offs that there was, right? And it just so happens to also come on a Future track, which
Oh, I
Future was
forgot
beefing
about
with Drake at the
Future.
time.
I forgot
And
about
then it's
him.
like, hey, right. And then he's like, hey, Kendrick, you want to get on here with me? Like to diss these niggas? He's like, yeah. So there is history there. I think it was hurt feelings. I think J. Cole has always admired Kendrick, and that's why the apology came. And he said as much, right? He said, I think he's one of the dopest MCs. Like, he's my peer. I apologize. I was whack what I did. I think J. Cole in the moment was just having a real human moment. My thing is this: war is war, fam, and you fired the shot. So now
Well, wait a
you
minute.
got to follow
What
up.
did Kendrick say
And
anything after about the apology? No, no.
no, he didn't say anything. And he hasn't said anything yet. And you notice what Drake did. Drake waited until both of them came out. I think he posted like a 15-second like clip or something, or a 10-second clip on Instagram where he's like allegedly playing the diss, right? But basically he showed the gun without, he said, I got a gun without having to pull the gun, right? And so, but he wanted to see, okay, what are these cats gonna do? I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna let them shoot at each other, and then when they're done, I'm gonna let the smoke clear and see what happens. Because, like I said, Drake knows he does not have the ability. In that 16 bar, he mostly beat up Drake. And I said,
Wait.
like,
You
it was
said
almost
Drake
like
mostly
the
beat up
book.
who?
Kendrick
Okay.
mostly beat up Drake
Gotcha.
yeah. And so he kind of looked at, he was holding Drake by the collar, punching him in the face, and looking at J. Cole like, hey, this is what I could do to you. This is what I could do to you. But Drake is not even considered, like Kendrick don't even consider him on his level because he's not lyrically, right? Maybe album sales, all of that, but he's not on his level lyrically. So Drake had to put that out, and then he put it out for Kendrick, for Ross, for I think he had some stuff on there for Meg Thee Stallion. It was just like, okay, everybody want to pile on, so I'm gonna put this out. Kendrick can murder.
Wait a minute. You know what?
Like
We didn't really talk about the
murder,
lady beefs though.
Nicki, Cardi B. I was just thinking
right?
about that. Like,
Nicki and everybody that was relevant after
and
Nicki. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and anybody associated with Cardi
And before her,
gets
because
astray,
Lil Kim.
like Meg.
it,
Cause what she? But yeah, I mean,
it just came to mind since you talk about lady beefs. There's a rapper named Azalea Banks.
oh
Something wrong.
my
She
God,
beefs with
yes,
everybody. She beefs with every damn person.
that's
Like,
her. That's her shtick, though.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's her thing.
She just made a
She's a
comment against
troll.
Eminem.
yeah.
She's
Like
a troll,
she's
like
she's
50.
a troll.
She's a
She's a
troll.
Right.
professional troll.
She without like his level of fame and notoriety. So
No. 50 trolls strategically. She trolls out of hurt and anger and trauma. So
what
50 knows what he's doing.
what
50 is
trolls
Like
petty.
has
Azalea
she
just
even made though?
50
Like
she
I
is
just
don't
petty
know.
though. Like, I mean, I know a little bit about petty. 50 is petty. Petty real nice petty.
My God, is he? Is he ever
right.
like?
Mike, we talked
But petty
about
can
Drake and
work
Meek Mill.
if you know how to do it. But that's
Yeah, he be like sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, we is too old for
Also,
this. But
what was it?
yeah.
It was Foxy Brown and Queen Latifah, wasn't it?
Foxy Brown.
Like somebody called
Foxy
her,
Brown did a
so
joint
she put out
called
name calling.
10% Diss with and that was on Funk Master Flex album Part 2. And I think she was basically making little side digs at Queen Latifah, talking about like Queen Latifah was sexuality or something. That was like on Funk Master Flex Volume 2, I think, or something. But
nah, but I was thinking more so about.
And then Queen
I think
Latifah
that
came
was,
back at her
yeah,
with
Queen
name
Latifah
calling.
came back. Uh,
I was thinking
Yeah.
more so about these like modern,
well,
Well,
You talking about
yeah,
Nicki
Nicki really
Minaj
beefs
and
with every
everybody else,
like.
basically.
There's a handful of there's like a handful of artists that she doesn't beef with, but I know it's probably because she perceives them to be lesser than her. Like anybody that has her level of fame and she's not she don't mess with them. But I love Cardi. That's my girl. I love her.
I do love Cardi too, because Cardi's also honest. She's like, listen, I don't write my own raps. I don't like, but this is what I am, and I think that level of honesty,
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah,
loves it.
she exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
She's very like she's super real. I mean,
I
well,
mean,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, Zuma. We said Roxanne Shante versus Real
So wait,
Roxanne. Yep.
so folks in the comments, what is your favorite um beef or like who do you think has the best diss record of all time? I'm gonna say I don't know if I would say it's all time, but I feel like
Ooh.
I don't know. Either
It's
up
between.
there for
It's
me.
two. It's
But
two for me. I was about to say it's between. For me, it's between Ether
somebody
and No
else said no
Vaseline.
Vaseline or hit 'em up.
People don't remember that Ice Cube used to murder people. Like Ice Cube was
Yep.
an assassin, and No
No
Vaseline
Vaseline.
was like, what? Right? Like that was crazy. So I feel like it's between Ether and No Vaseline
I
for me.
can't give you a top because like and because depending on my mood, the list can change. But I mean, I will tell you this. Um, these are my top notables. Cowards in Compton, which was basically Luke did like there was a beef back in the early '90s where Luke and Doc. I don't know if you remember the Dr. Dre song off Chronic called Dre Day.
Yeah, of course.
He was dissing Luke. Dre. He was dissing Luke and
Oh,
E.
yep. Yep.
Like
Yep.
Luke's bending over, and so Luke's getting stuck. Luke
Yeah.
came back and Easy E came back with Cowards in Compton. And if you listen, like if you watch the video's funny as hell. Like because they basically showed pictures of Dr. Dre when he was in this joint called the World Class Wrecking Crew. Apparently, yeah.
I don't remember the songs,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of remember that video. It sounds familiar.
That
It sounds familiar.
was in Compton
Mm-hmm.
was a hard diss, but it was funny too. And Easy E's joint was funny too. Ether, of course, obviously, and back to back. And two reasons why they're on my notables. Two joints in the club that you play in the club and women dance to. Now, if you got a diss song that people play in the club and women dancing to, it is what it
Back
that's.
to back, maybe, but you can't dance to Ether. That's just a.
Well, okay,
You
maybe
just
you
gotta
can, but
make an ugly face listening to that. Like,
all
ooh,
right,
did he
well,
just say that?
I mean,
Yeah.
well, in DC, I think I saw a couple women grinding to it, like down at the Rich nightclub. But I mean, to play it in the club,
The
it's
Ether.
it's I see
Okay.
what's happening, but I didn't think too much about it. I just saw Ether came on, some women started grinding to it. It's like whatever, but and also what Safe and Sound, which was I think was DJ Quick was dissing MC8.
Oh, I like
That was
your question. Are you from the West Coast?
no. I just listen to all types of music. I'm from Baltimore, but I just
Oh,
listen
okay.
a whole lot.
No,
Oh,
because yeah,
I
the way
could have
you
swore he
shout
was
out
from the
the
West
West
Coast. I
Coast
was like, he
artists,
got to
I'm
be from the
like,
West Coast.
what?
I just I listened to everything. I wasn't regional. I just listened to it was East, it was West, like
Air.
New York, which was basically like which was basically when the East Coast West Coast beat started, where Snoop Doggy Dogg before he became Snoop Dogg, which was Death Row, was kicking over
Yeah.
was kicking over Empire State Building. I mean, and also this Eminem Benzino beef, which has been going on for a while, it just got rekindled.
It's just not.
Like
It got rekindled by
I'll say
what?
this:
No, that's not no real beef.
Eminem smoked him again, but Benzino came out with another diss song. I forget the name of it. Like this beef started back.
I, I've never listened to a
Exactly.
Benzino song in
I'm
my
gonna say
life.
this. Um,
Never.
I'm gonna say this. Um, that no matter what you think about Benzino, and a lot of people don't, and a lot of people have nothing but negative opinions about Benzino. I mean, he does have a role in hip hop because he was instrumental in like the Source magazine. Now, whatever.
He single handedly
I mean,
destroyed the
yeah,
source.
man,
Yes.
I guess him and Dave Mays. I mean, apparently, I guess he went off the bad path and just so. Well,
I mean, he used
he
source for his own
yes,
personal, his own personal attacks. And the first he put out was Eminem. And then I remember because I was a subscriber to the source. I remember when they sold it, or when he finally sold it, the source printed the first editorial that they did. They printed an apology, and they said how like, hey, we weren't really allowed to do like real, because the source
right,
was like legit, like before we had anything, like if you the source magazine was your place to go for hip hop, and they had some really good stories. Like it was
Yeah.
Rolling Stone level quality stories when you're reading these articles. But Benzino took it and turned it into his own personal, gun to shoot at anybody he didn't like. And, enemy number one on his list was Eminem. The issue was that they weren't allowed to do real journalism then. And so that I remember the next issue after it was sold, or after he sold it, they were like, "We're sorry, we weren't doing real journalism under
right.
Benzino because we weren't allowed to." So yeah, Benzino's like the Lex Luthor of hip hop. He's don't have no powers, not necessarily that smart, but he just causing
Wait
trouble. But he
a
always getting
minute.
caught.
So
So
okay, so I'm trying
I
to
don't
see
know.
what some of these other the other beefs that they're saying are their favorites. Mm,
50 about that
yeah.
money.
So
That shit. 50 minutes.
Shalani Manzili
And
says no
just
Vaseline
to add,
has to be the
we're talking
illest.
about Ether, but Sheether was pretty good too. The one where Remy Ma dissed Nicki Minaj.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
forgot about.
oh, Sheetha
Yes, I
was,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, but listen, nothing. Look, I'm obviously I'm a woman, right? So I'm a rock with the ladies. However, eh, mean, I, it's not,
And
it ain't the same. It ain't the same.
What are you
little,
saying for? Oh,
I'm sorry,
gosh,
Little
the beef.
Kim's diss on Nicki Minaj, which I believe was called, I think it was called Black Friday or something. But Little Kim's diss on Nicki Minaj came out years before Sheether and got ignored because people were turning away from Little Kim. Was just as like was basically just cut just as deep as Sheether, but nobody remembers it. But I that's one
Yep,
of the
sure do.
forgotten. Yeah, that's
And that's my girl.
yeah,
Kim is my girl. But
true.
um, yeah. But as far as like iconic diss songs, Ether definitely tops my list. And the Takeover,
Yeah,
and I love Jay. It didn't compare. So, do you remember? Wait, do you
mm,
remember on Hot
nah,
97 when they were like, they kept playing them back to back, like back and forth, and like everybody was going crazy. And I think they were like having people call in to say like, which one they were voting for. This is, pre what year was
mhm.
that? This was like, I guess in the early days
That was
of
like
the World
early
Wide Web.
2000s,
So,
wasn't
there were no social
Hey,
medias.
we're
Or maybe
forgetting
Black Planet or something. I don't know.
this. Talking about iconic, we're forgetting
it?
two of the
Yeah,
most iconic diss songs ever. "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac and "Who Shot You."
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, but see,
yeah. We talked
okay,
about
do
it.
we
Yeah,
think that Who Shot Ya was about Tupac? Because that didn't that come out before? Not it didn't come out, but wasn't it on Who Shot Ya? I thought was on was that on Ready to Die?
no, it
No, it wasn't.
wasn't.
Wasn't on
No, it
Ready to Die.
wasn't. It was on, I believe it was on Born Again, but
it was.
they had
I
released
mean,
it before. But Born Again was like I think like a compilation of just some unreleased tracks by Biggie. I'm not completely
No,
sure, but
no. But Who Shot Ya? No, Who Shot Ya came out like
no. But
in like 95, I thought.
I believe
It was
he
old.
recorded who shot before he got shot, but
Yeah.
released it after the beef started. So
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. I don't know. Somebody research on that. But yeah, I don't think it was necessarily about him, but when he recorded it, but when
yeah,
he released it, it was definitely about Tupac. And I mean, it
Yeah.
is what it
Well,
is.
that
It is
was,
what it
yes,
is.
and
Unfortunately,
definitely an unfortunate outcome of, I mean, they were two of the greatest, and so we don't want to see nothing like that happening, and I don't
of
think
course not.
any of
And
these,
okay, so
modern day beefs would rise to that level. I
but they so we're not what we're not
yes,
talking
real
about is
rap.
drill rap. And so when you have these, and drill is a very particular, like there's not everybody's listening to drill, right? Definitely not our generation is listening to drill, but like kids in their 20s, middle schoolers, grade schoolers, all the way up to folks in their 20s are listening to drill. And a lot of the drill is coming out of the street beef anyway. And some of these cats that got songs out aren't even alive anymore because they got caught, got right. Like Pop
yeah.
Smoke, I guess it would be one of the most relevant. Even though he wasn't killed by a rival gang, but you know, the drill community, like the drill rap community, it gets serious. Like these kids are 15, 16-year old, like shooting each other, stabbing each other, killing each other, which is
Yeah.
which is sad. Like it's really sad. And then talking about, smoking on this op or smoking this person's, dead homie or whatever. Um, it's
No,
just, it's
it
unfortunate. But I feel like that's a
yeah.
different category because that's a music that's coming out of the street
Right.
that's glorifying the violence. Right? These are not just artists; these are gangsters that are rapping, and then
Right.
they're putting their beef on wax. That's a different kind of
So we are not,
genre.
celebrating and advocating. No, no black on black crime. No, listen, we not. Come on, people. We got to do better than that. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not getting sturdy, right? Because I might break my ankles.
Yeah,
However, I mean, I do like some of those songs. Like I'm trying to think of who some of those artists are. Oh, Fabio Foreign. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I liked Pop
Lil
Smoke,
Durk,
but
DJ Whoopty, if you remember Whoopty.
Whoop the
Whoopty,
party.
I,
you remember him?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that is.
No,
They
I'm thinking of some of the
I
more
don't know who that.
commercial because I'm sure there are some very obscure ones I would never know, or like maybe if I asked my son, like he'd be able to tell me. But I don't care that much. Like if it's on the radio and I like it, it's cool. But I'm not gonna be like, ooh, let me go download a bunch of drill music. I don't care.
there's
I I don't
a
even listen
white
to the
drill rapper out. His name is Little Mabu. He's been on Fivio Foreign tracks. So I mean, Little Mabu or something.
little what?
MABU, but he's
I
white.
don't.
I can't even. I was. It's funny because I was in a restaurant earlier this week and I saw they have like an Indian drill artist. And I was like,
Is that the
"Is this
guy
Indian
that I
drill music?" I was
saw?
like, "What is going on, yo?"
There's a viral video going around of an Indian artist who
He had
probably
a turban on and he was surrounded by a whole bunch of Mexicans with like a whole bunch of like cholo Mexicans. I was like, "Bro, these not even your people. Like, what's going on?" I don't.
yeah. Well,
I
but you
don't
know
know,
what? Because it's not for us
bro.
to understand. That's not our era. Like I know the old school beefs, right? And other than Tupac and Biggie, thankfully none of them rose to that level of like like a crescendo of
Right.
violence. But and I don't think that's what's going to happen with other outside of the drill rap. I don't think that's going to happen with the Drakes and the Rick Rosses and the Meeks and the whoever the hell else
They're gonna
is
shoot
involved.
each other next fashion shows and
Yeah.
you know. I was giving you ass. Y'all both at a fashion show, bro. Like, stop it. Uh, Michael said Rick Ross diss on 50 Cent Mafia music. Okay, I didn't hear that. Al- Also, I don't feel like 50 took that seriously because Rick Ross still has a
What
career.
the? Oh,
Because he said Michael said Rick Ross diss on 50 Cent Mafia music. I don't think I
I don't
didn't hear
remember
that.
that either.
Also, what about Wale
You
and
said Wale and
Miguel? We
Miguel.
forgot about
Oh,
Meek,
that.
Meek Mill.
I was like
And Meek Mill.
Miguel. Like, are you serious right now?
They were in the same camp, but that got squashed because they're in the
Yeah, I
same camp. But
mean,
yeah,
again. So in
Rick
conclusion,
Cent, Ja Rule, of course. I mean, 50 Cent ended his career and then turned around and did the very thing that he criticized Ja Rule for, which I thought was
what
hilarious.
the singing?
Uh,
Oh, what like 21 questions?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
21
yeah,
questions,
true.
Candy Shop. Like,
But
he got a
somehow,
whole bunch of
maybe because
singing.
it wasn't as melodic, maybe because it sounded like, a gravelly voice, grown man. I
What was
don't know.
Yeah.
Even though that's the way
I
Ja Rule sounded too.
heard about me because I'm a motherfucking G.
Magic.
No Cadillacs or fools you can't see
Uh,
because motherfucking
Yeah, yeah,
P.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
no, I
gotta
was
take
gonna I
off,
was gonna say, so in
but
conclusion, I was about to wrap up anyway. But thank you for joining and breaking down all these beefs to the like most intricate level of being broke of
the
beefery.
beefery.
Yes. Yes, that. Yeah. So
I'll say this in closing. So we will see. I think everybody's waiting on if and how Kendrick will respond.
so you think
Whether he'll respond to Drake, whether he'll respond to Drake and J. Cole. I don't think he's going to respond to J. Cole. But whether he's going to respond to Drake, whether he's going to respond to both of them, or if he's going to respond at all. I think there's a response coming. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, we will. But like, I mean, the funny thing is, so I actually had in mind to discuss, another love related topic, but no, y'all wanted to talk about beef. So I said, okay, well, let's talk about it then. But I'm definitely not invested in these modern day beefs in the same way that I was with, some of the older school because I don't care, like, you know. However,
Right.
people do, seem somewhat invested, and they talking about who won this battle, who won that battle. So here we are. But anywho,
Right.
I thank you for joining and sharing your hip hop knowledge, and you as well, John. Do you have any parting words before I sign you off there?
Um, nah, I guess nah, I just had to come on and just say my piece about Drake, but hopefully well, excuse me. Now that my memory is jogged a little bit, I think you don't have to really worry about the big time rappers ever beefing because there's just too much money on the line. But as my man said over there, the drill rappers, some of the other rappers who are the younger rappers and everything, like in the streets, it's all about aggression with them. And I do believe that some of these record companies or some of these labels or the ones that sign them actually encourage the beef and encourage like the violence. Like Young Boy
Oh yeah.
NBA is a younger artist. Like you may or may not know about him. He's beef with a lot of people too. I can't even recall the people he's beef with, but we lost a lot of. There are a lot of rappers. NBA,
NBA Young
yeah,
Boy.
NBA
That's his name.
Young Boy. Like, yeah.
Okay, wait. So one more person told me they want to join me. So I'm going to sign y'all off. Thank you for joining me. So I'm gonna let this person come on real
All
quick,
right.
Take
and
care.
then I'm out of here. But thank y'all for joining. Have a wonderful
Hey,
Wednesday, and
Yep.
you know,
You too. Peace.
yeah,
all right.
peace. Keep peace, right? Keep the peace. No
Definitely.
beef.
Most definitely.
Okay, bye. Okay, so the real Spider-Man, you don't know how to send me a message? I mean, send me a, here, let me try to add you real quick. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Um, okay, so I sent you an invite. Hopefully you can join. Let me see what y'all talking about. Nothing. Okay. I don't know what happened because I just sent you an invite to add you. Um, so if I don't see you pop on here in a minute, I'm just gonna sign off. Um, the real Spider-Man, and I don't see you. So with that, I'm wrapping up for the evening. Thank y'all for joining and sharing your opinions on the greatest rap beefs. And I will see y'all next Wednesday. I think we're doing Hip Hop Jeopardy next Wednesday. So if you're interested in playing, DM me, let me know. You know your hip hop. Otherwise, see you next week. And I'm out. Peace, two fingers.